Hello. I'm going to do a little series of kind of quick creates. I do have a video that I need to do in order to release a kit that I've had finished for probably a month now. I really do need to get that out. But I just needed to do something, so I thought I would do something quick, easy, fairly straightforward. And I haven't really been able to craft much recently. This is the extent of my craft in over a month. That's it. They are for journals that I'm making and are very, 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 very slow coming. Anyway, Wendy got me started. So I'm going to, you may have seen my little post on Instagram the day Wendy made these. I don't have those little coin things, so I made this kind of makeshift version, and I think somebody else in my Facebook group has done a tutorial since, also doing an alternative. So I'm not gonna do a tutorial, but I'm gonna do a very quick run through of how I made my Wendy version of these. What are they called? Catalogue cards. These ones I got from my lovely friend Kerry. Thank you, Kerry. Love you loads. But these ones I made. I think I made 8, maybe 6 of these. But I've made several of these. So what I did was, this is a cardstock. This particular one is a linen finish. And they are basically 5 inches by 3 inches and a hole. And yeah, they're not, they haven't got the typed text on, but that's, pretty much what they are. So what I did was I used a stamp and just stamped a little bit along the top. I grabbed some Tim Holtz wallpaper and just tore a little piece off and popped that on. Labels, stickers. I actually used original tea cards. And I've just stapled a little piece of fabric there. And what I did was, these are what I'm going to make today. No measuring, no measuring involved, which is my kind of creating. So these are single. I've actually made a few doubles, which is what I'm going to try and use today. But what I did was I took a few different punches, and I punched out to see which ones I could get far enough into the paper. And I've only got a 2-inch circle, and there was not a lot of room. This is the edge where, let me show you, where you put your circle punch in, you can't get it very far in. And I didn't want to get out my, my Sizzix, because I know not everyone's going to have one of those, but there are various punches that you could use for this. I used my it's kind of a scalloped edge square, basically. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this is the single. I'm going to make it as a double to show you this kind of version. So these are like little specimen slides. This obviously you can see, this is a piece of very tatty scrap. And that's what I've been using to make these. So I've got my tatty scrap. All I've done is I've folded it. Okay. Grab my punch, and I'm going to punch somewhere in the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I've pushed it into the punch as far as it will go. Okay, so these are obviously, I've got a nice little pile of patterned punches now for other things, but this is what you get. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I do this without measuring. So I'm going to grab my cutting board, and on my cutting board, I'm going to bring this down just 1 second. Okay. On my cutting board, I've got little lines, you can probably see. And all I'm doing is I line the edge of that cut, the punch, with that line. And I'm using that as a guide. So I'm not having to use a ruler to try and get these even. I'm using my cutting board as a guide. And then I'm just gonna trim off that little piece there. Get this out of the way. And there you have a very, very straightforward and easy specimen slide. Okay, this is my small corner punch, so I'm going to just use that to punch my corners. So now I have a kind of specimen slide. So of course, I'm going to ink it. I'm going to give it a bit of an ink. I'm not worried about this little piece that's bent here, because that's going to be glued down. Adds to the aesthetic. And I've also got a little hole in this piece here. Okay, I'm just going to grab my teeny weeny one. Just go around here. And if you're going to glue this or attach it to a card, a journaling card, something like this one, you only need a single cut out. You don't need this doubled over kind of version. These little quick videos that I'm going to try and do, that nothing's going to be new. It's all going to be stuff that's done before, or even stuff I've done before. Just something a little bit different. Now I have some plastic. This is the plastic I used, and it is literally just tissue. It was a tissue paper packet. That's all this is. It's not a very thick. I do have some thicker plastic here, which I might use in some of the others when I've run out of this. But this one is not quite so clear. Okay, so I'm going to grab my larger scissors, and I want to make sure I'm going to cut it wide enough to cover that. Any spare I will cut off after I've glued. Okay. Now, of course, this is double, and it's probably impossible to see on the camera. So I've just got myself now a fairly long strip of plastic. Okay. I'm gonna open. Actually, I'm just gonna grab my bone folder and make sure that's. Sorry about my squeaky chair. I bet you've missed my squeaky chair. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one side at a time. I'm not going to glue right up to the punched hole, because the glue will kind of spread a little bit and it might seep over to the plastic. So I'm just going to line this up as best I can. I've left it in the big strip, and I'm pushing outwards to kind of glue that in place. Okay, then I'm going to take my smaller scissors and I'm going to trim to my glue. It's very difficult to actually see. Okay, so you might be able to see that's now got my polythene in, and you can just see a really thin bead of glue around there. So I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. My plan was to not only use what's around my desk. So these scraps were all in my scrap drawer, and the polythene was, the tissue paper was in my drawer. So I didn't have to go anywhere to get any of this stuff. You know, I'm just trying to use what I've got to hand. I would absolutely love to do this 100-day project, but you know, I think I struggle with 10 days. I don't seem to be able to do a project 1 month to the next at the minute. Okay, So that's the other side done. And again, I'm going to trim off as close as I can to my glue. And I'll keep that aside because I've got lots more cut ready to try and lift this slightly. It's a bit fiddly, but it's still easier than measuring. So I've now got, I've now got glue. Now I've got glue on there. I've got a little glue eraser, and I got an awesome glue bottle from the fantastic L'Oreal. Thank you, L'Oreal, for that. See, I've already used this. But I'm waiting for a big Fabri-Tac, so I'm going to fill that bottle up when the big one comes. That's awesome. Just get that glue off that polythene. That would probably help if I got it off my board first, wouldn't it? There we go. Right, now what I've got is some dried flowers, pressed flowers. So I've got some purple alyssum. Let's see what that looks like. Pretty cool. So I'm going to put that in this one. So I haven't done any of these yet, so bear with me. I'm going to glue around the opening again, the hole. And obviously now I'm gluing onto polythene, so it is going to go everywhere. And then I'm going to glue around the outside. I don't know that I'm actually going to sew any of this as yet. Close that. And again, I'm going to push away from that opening to make sure the glue doesn't seep underneath this plastic. And you could use printed butterflies or printed flowers, fussy cut flowers. You could use images from books. You could even put postage stamps in here. They look pretty cool. So you've got, that's the back and that's the front. Actually, with this particular flower, it makes no difference, does it? Okay, so it has dropped very slightly. There we go. So it's going to move around a little bit, which is quite cool. And as you can see, there is actually some glue seeped through here, but that's okay. That's okay. I quite like the effect that it has anyway, so I'm not worried about that. Now, I don't know that I have any teeny tiny labels that I can put on here. Got a number 78, that's quite small. Let's see what else I have. What's that one? That's a little one. Oh, I've lost it. It was a little one. Probably should print some of these a bit smaller if I want to use it. What's this one? That's quite small. Tuesday. I think I'm going to use that one. So this is kind of, again, I think Wendy did something like this last year. So it's all very, very Wendy inspired today. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue for this. I use the Fabri-Tac for the plastic because I know that's gonna work on there. So let's put this on. Okay, and I think what I'm probably going to do is put a little hole in here and maybe hang this on a piece of ball chain, because I think that would be quite cool. Okay, so that's one That's 15 minutes. There we go. So I'm actually going to call that day because it's a quick create, and that's it. That's what I've created. I will obviously embellish it, like I said, a bit more, maybe pop a ball chain on here so it can hang in a journal. But this is just to get me started and to try and get myself motivated a little bit. But like I said, have a watch of Wendy's video of these, because they are they're brilliant and very, very easy to do. Wendy does a very good tutorial, as always, as you would expect. But there you go, that's my little specimen slide. Very, very basic, very, very simple, but very, very quick. I will see you soon.